What's going on, everybody? Lionheart Plays here. Welcome back to the League Battle League channel, and today we're going to be bringing you the Season 5 Week 4 Power Rankings. This week has been very interesting. Quite a lot of things have happened and whatnot. Again, of course, as you know, the play-by-plays and everything more in detail will be done with the weekly roundups that are hosted by Lonely Hermits, and they're going to be on the same channel, so if you're familiar with the channel already, make sure you automatically give this a video and the other videos a thumbs up. Catch up on the top 5 fails, top 5 plays, and the weekly roundups and the previous power rankings as well if you have not already. And of course, if you're new to the channel, consider dropping a like and sticking around for the video. And if you do like what you see, go ahead and consider subscribing as well. Also, not to mention, you should also definitely check out the coaches, whose links are also going to be in the description below. Now, with all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the rankings. Right now. So, coming in at number 16, we have the Carolina Garchomps, coached by Newtbox. Pretty simple with this one. He basically just got outplayed, and his opponent managed to get a sweep. He was on the receiving end of the sweep. Not much to go around here. And yeah, we're just going to move on. Coming in at number 15, we have the Walton Wingles. Now, the Walton Wingles, they put up a slightly better fight than they did last week, but ultimately they also were on the receiving end of a 6-0 sweep. Their opponent was the New York Matangs. Again, not much to say here. So we're going to move on again. And now, number 14. Number 14 is actually pretty interesting because we have the Greater Manchester Greninjas. Now, we're talking about a team that has, for the previous 3 weeks, have been swept 6-0. All right? And they're actually managed to climb to the power rankings, which is great, right? They were facing up against, a much stronger opponent, the San Antonio Espers. Now, whether it was on part of their opponent or because they were able to maneuver properly, he managed to stop a potential sweep, so the sweep got interrupted. And even though he did end up getting 6-0'd, like I said, it wasn't a sweep by a particular Pokemon. If you have a different definition of what a sweep would be, definitely put it in the comments below. But in ours, the way we define it here is if one Pokemon continuously sweeps all 6 of yours, then that would be a clean 6-0 sweep. And it wasn't that. And also, highlight, he got his 2nd kill of the season. So congratulations, Raging Lake. Congratulations on your 2nd kill. Moving on to the next spot, we have the Fort Sill Warriors. Fort Sill Warriors, coached by myself. Sadly, we were on the receiving end of a reverse sweep on the Solgaleo. A couple of mistakes that were done here, of course, that placed us in this in the low rankings here. Number 1, oversight of ours. We brought the wrong ability on the Lugia. Brought pressure instead of multi-scale. It could have mattered, and it couldn't have, because it may or may not have mattered, to be honest, because the Lugia was still bulky and it still tanked quite a bit. And then the second really big mistake was we forgot the Solgaleo ability, Full Metal Body. So these 2 mistakes cost us the match. Number 12, coming up at number 12, we have the Florida Rowlets. Now, the Florida Rowlets, coached by Mike the Quick. All right, so this one, quite a number of things to say with this one, but ultimately, some, like I said, I don't want to go ahead and give a full thing as to what could have happened and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and leave it up to some questionable battle decisions that were made, forgetting that Inteleon got Ice Beam and whatnot, and then also the ability of Comfey, which, if you didn't know, it gives +3 priority to any move that heals it. So Recover, for example, Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, those moves have +3 priority. So yeah, So not knowing all of that, plus a couple of other things that went on during the match, is what managed to place him in the number 12 spot. Moving on to the number 11 spot, we have the Texas Tyrannotars, who is coached by the Doorman. Now, sadly, they were on a receiving end of a reverse sweep as well. They had their plays, they had their plays. It's just their opponent just outplayed and outmuscled, which we'll get onto later on. But you can't manage. There's not much you can do when placed in a position the way Texas was. Again, the play-by-plays are definitely going to be done and run by the weekly roundups. So definitely check that out for the play-by-play on what happened with this match. But you can't do much against a sweep. He did manage to get 2 kills off though, which is great. But still, we have him here at this spot. Moving on to number 10. The number 10 spot is going to be held by the Detroit Luxrays. This one was pretty simple. He got out-predicted and he got outplayed by his opponent. They faced off against the TJ dropouts. Not much to say with this one, because this one was clean and cut. Some of the decisions weren't there, I feel. Some were, but he just got out-predicted. Moving on to the next spot, we have the DC Starmies. DC Starmies coached by It's Really Timmy B. Sadly, he also did get outplayed by his opponent, and we placed him a little lower on the rankings because he lost to an opponent serving a rather severe penalty, which we've explained in the past and everything. But his opponent was the Iowa Incineroar, and they were only able to bring 4 Pokemon. 4 Pokemon took out the rest of his team. I feel like, based on the post commentary, of course, some things, there were some things that were done that shouldn't have been done and whatnot. It wasn't terrible, because Timmy's still a pretty talented battler, but he just ultimately got outplayed by his opponent. Coming in at number 8, at the number 8 spot, we have the TJ Dropouts, coached by Smoosh Moosh. Now, as we mentioned before, they went up against the Detroit Luxrays. The Detroit Luxrays were outplayed by Smoosh, so Smoosh was able to outpredict and outplay his opponent. Again, this one was pretty much cut and dry with how the match went. Now, coming in at the number 7 spot, we have the Snowdonian Frostmoss. The Snowdonian Frostmoss, coached by Jakey XY. Now, with this one, I like the way Jakey plays overall. He's very aggressive. He just takes risks and whatnot, and sometimes they yield results and sometimes they don't. But I mean, if you don't find out, then if you don't mess around, you won't find out, basically. And his plays are all about messing around and finding out, seeing what this does. It's very ballsy, and I really like how he plays. He ended up winning his match. He played very well overall, despite just a slight couple misplays, but emphasis on slight, because it really didn't matter. I mean, I guess it could just be a matter of opinion, what could have happened and whatnot, but still played very, very well. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have the Iowa Incineroar, coached by Inferno Man, or Landon. Now, as we mentioned before, Landon is serving a penalty, only able to bring 4 Pokemon. That being said, he was still able to outplay one of the most aggressive battlers in the league so far and managed to pull off a win. Now, I don't remember if this was mentioned in Landon's video or so, but one thing that I did notice that Landon did a very good job was outlasting the Sun when it comes to the Venusaur and whatnot, because as you saw, the Venusaur did quite a bit with the Sludge Bomb with the match, of course. If you haven't seen it, definitely go ahead and check it out. But it did quite a bit with the Sludge Bomb. Not to mention, if Venusaur maintained that speed advantage that it had, the Venusaur would have won. And that would have won the match for Timmy. But the fact that he was able to hold Zacian back and outlast the Sun until he was able to outspeed the Venusaur was big. It was big for Landon. So I think it was very well played on Landon's part. All right, coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the LA Inferno, coached by Lonely Hermit. Lonely Hermit, one of the juggernauts of the league right now, one of the hottest teams that's right now in the league. I think overall, I think overall he was able to play his moves well. Suffered 2 losses, yes. The Zacian, he played the Zacian really well because the Zacian's death ultimately paved the way for the Nagana Del sweep on the rest of his team. He played it really well. Not much to say with this one. Let's cut and dry. Now, coming in at the number 4 spot, we have the San Antonio Espers. San Antonio Espers are coached by Sly Guy. All right, so they were able to 6-0 their opponent, right? It was not a sweep because the sweep was interrupted. Now, again, I mentioned earlier whether that was due to Sly Guy's doing, or there was some plays that were made by Raging Lake. We're gonna go ahead and leave that up there. I know in the video Sly was like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it." So, whatever the case was, it wasn't a clean sweep. So that's why we have him here at the number 4 spot. However, it was still a 6-0 sweep. Now, before we get into the top 3 spots of the league, just to go ahead and throw a quick reminder here, if you have not already, make sure you throw a thumbs up. Hit the like button, make it turn blue. Subscribe to the Elite Battle League channel, and hit the bell icon as well, so that you too can be notified when more power rankings, weekly roundups, top 5 fails, and top 5 plays are dropped on the channel. This season has been crazy so far, so I definitely recommend you stay tuned and updated to everything that happens. And of course, check out the coaches in the description below. Now, continuing with the top 3. Number 3 goes to the Colchester Celtics, coached by Pokey Pidge. Now, Pokey Pidge was able to pull off a really big win with this team. Some things he wasn't expecting, some things he did. I think that his best play of his team, of the battle, was putting agility on the Solgaleo, knowing that Whimsicott would have some sort of status debuffing move, but full metal body. And it packs a punch, and whatnot. So it was ultimately able to outspeed the rest of Fort Sill's team, doing a reverse sweep. Not much can be said from there. Coming in at number 2, we have the New York Metangs that are coached by Metamaxis. Now, Meta also got a full 6-0 sweep against his opponent. Again, as we know, Meta is a very tactical battler. He has had prior VGC experience, of course, for those of you who don't know him, but very tactical battler, so no surprises here for him getting the number 2 spot. And last but not least, going up on the number 1 spot for this week's power rankings, we have the Montebello Morpecos, however you like to call it. But we have the Montebello Morpecos, coached by Mr. Toast. We put him here in the number 1 spot because by far his battle was the cleanest. It was the cleanest sweep that we've had this week. Went up against the Carolina Garchomps. Reshi got a kill, but then 2 D dances up. Zekrom was just able to mow right through his team like nothing. Cleanest sweep that we've had so far this week, and that's why we put him in the number 1 spot. Of course, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, like I said earlier, make sure you hit the like button, make it turn blue, and subscribe to the Elite Battle League channel, and hit the bell icon so that you too can be notified for more of these videos. Check out the coaches in the descriptions below. That being said, I'm out. See you guys next week for Week 5's power rankings. Till then, Lionheart out.